The 2019 NFL season is at the midway point here, and the Packers are 7-1. That's the topics for tonight, so stick around. This video is brought to you by Packer Fan Cave. Everything you need to turn your man cave into a Packer fan cave. You can check them out at packerfancave.net. There is a link in the description below this video. So here we are midway through the 2019 NFL season. The Packers are 7-1 at this point. That's really awesome for the first year with a rookie head coach. I think not many people actually had the Packers doing that well this early in Matt Lafleur's career. And here to talk about this with me is my friend Mark Pedriana, a lifelong Packer fan, and my brother Luke Schneider, one of the Packers owners and also huge Packer fan. You guys, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for
It's
having
awesome
us.
to be here, man.
Awesome.
I like every time I can get on Packer Fan Network.
Yeah. So, Mark, what do you think so far? I know we talked about it in a couple of earlier videos that we did have pretty high hopes for Matt Lafleur. Were you expecting 7-1 at this point?
As one of the most optimistic Packer fans ever, I can honestly say no. And I mean, I'm not one of those guys that goes through the schedule one by one, but I mean, I don't think anybody kind of had us looking this good and with this good a record at this point. So it's really impressive what they've done so far, especially Matt LaFleur. He deserves a lot of credit for what he's done.
Yeah. And especially, nobody was expecting Davante Adams to have turf toe earlier on in the season. Luke, what did you think when he went down? Were you expecting the Packers to take a step back, or did you expect what we're seeing?
I really did expect him to take a step back, but I was really surprised and excited that the other guys stepped up. What I really hope is going forward in the season, even when Davante's out there, that Rodgers is hitting every receiver he's got on the field. I forgot how many, if he hit seven different receivers in the game last week. So I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, and the two games before that were 9 receivers, 9 different guys apiece in each of those games. So I do think that as much as you hate to say the words, like maybe losing Davante Adams for a few weeks in the season kind of helped the Packers out because it forced the rest of the guys to have to step up, and it forced Rodgers really to have to learn to trust guys that he didn't seem to trust early in the season.
And maybe those were his running backs to start with.
Right.
These guys weren't known as pass catching running backs coming into the Packers, but they've really showed a lot of progression in that department. So maybe those are the guys that he didn't trust immediately, but he's been forced to not necessarily spreading the ball just to the receivers are stepping in for Adams, but getting the running backs going, and you can see the confidence building between all three of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really what's important is when you've got guys, your quarterback has to be able to trust them. He has to be able to believe that if I throw you the ball, you're going to catch it. I mean, you see guys that'll come into the league and the quarterback doesn't trust them, and they're not going to be on a team very long. This year I was really expecting a little bit more out of Kumaro. I'm a little disappointed in what I've seen out of him so far. But there's still a whole half a season left to play, and to be honest, I think we're gonna see him get better as the season continues. Also, the defense has been stepping up this year. I think they looked a little better early in the season than they've looked the last couple of games. But I think we've been up against better offenses the last couple of games too. And honestly, like we talked about before the video started, people didn't really think that highly outside of Green Bay Packer fans. People didn't think that highly of the pickups of the Smith brothers, and I think, they've been all the difference this year as far as how our defense is played. Can you imagine what the defense would look like without them? To be honest, I think, between those two, we're getting a sack a game at least, maybe even more. It's just phenomenal to watch those guys out there, and they play like they're not actual blood brothers, but they play like they are actual brothers. It's impressive to see.
They do interviews that way too.
Yeah.
You're right. They've been the tone setters. They've come to play every single week. They've made plays every week, and I think that's been infectious on this defense. Everybody wants to be a part of it, and they haven't been, that shutdown defense.
Right.
But they've been, I don't really like the phrase bend but don't break, but they're one of the best red zone defenses. That's exactly what they're doing. They're allowing that movement up and down the field, but it seems like when they need a sack, they're getting a sack. When they need a turnover, they're getting it. And when they need to bow up in the red zone, they're doing it. And
exactly.
I think it starts, you're absolutely right with those two.
Yeah.
Well, the whole defense, you hit it right on the head, Mark, with that, that it's infectious. The whole team is playing good. I was a little worried coming into the season that, because everything was new and the guys hadn't played together as much, I thought we were going to have some growing pains right away. But 7-1 at midseason, I mean, and we're growing together as a team more as the year goes by, because we really did make a lot of changes this year, and it's good to see that they can rebuild fast, and that they're giving Rodgers a team to make something happen this year.
Yep. And also on that defense, this is the first time we've seen Kevin King really for a whole half a season out there, and he's had his impressive moments, but he's also had his not so impressive moments, but all in all, I'm impressed with the way he's been playing, and I think the longer he stays in the league and the longer he's on the team, the less of those non-impressive moments he's going to have. I think he's a good kid with a lot of speed and a lot of talent, and the more he learns, I think the better his positioning is going to be, and the better just all around at covering receivers. He's got the speed, he's got the height. I think that's exciting having him and Zadar, or not Smith, Alexander. Yes, thank you. Having those two, I think the longer we can keep those two together, I think the better. I think they're going to be a phenomenal tandem for years to come in the NFL. Kind of like Al Harris and Charles Woodson were that tandem that we needed at that time. You know what I mean? And this year, I think those two are actually being that tandem that we need at this time.
I think it's important to point out too, Tramon Williams is still playing,
yeah,
man.
Still making plays.
He is still doing okay.
Yeah.
He's just for the Packers. I think he is one of those guys that someday, after he's out of the league, I think he could make the Packer Hall of Fame that way too. Myself.
Yeah, I agree, and that bring that up, Mark. You mentioned earlier that Al Harris was put in the Packers Hall of Fame.
Harris and Woodson, it was announced today, so both of them are going in, and it's good timing because you're absolutely right to have something solid in that back end for the first time, and the safeties as well. I think Amos and Savage have been great this year.
Yes,
a little bit up and down in terms of health. They've had a couple, they've been nicked up a little bit, but they bring a lot of consistency to that defense and leadership. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Luke. Tramon Williams has been tremendous this year.
Yep.
He's not down. He's not in on every play. He's not on the field. He's not an every down guy anymore.
Right.
When he's on the field, he's still making plays all over people, and the leadership too.
Yeah.
And it's exciting to watch the team because they have direction and they have leadership, and like we talked about, there's excitement. So it's more fun. They're having a lot of fun, and we're having a lot of fun as fans watching it.
Right.
That's for sure.
And that's really what you want, is to have fun watching it and be 7-1 right now. It doesn't hurt. It definitely helps with the fun aspect of it. And what do you guys think out there? Are you guys happy with the season that the Packers are having so far? Were you expecting to be 7-1 at this point? Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Hit that little bell icon so you get notifications every time I upload new content. Share the video with all your friends. And one other thing, you see Duke already got his.
Nice.
We're starting with Packer Fan Network merchandise. Mark, here's your shirt for being on the show.
That's amazing. That is an honor. I will wear that with pride.
Yes.
PFN, thanks for having me again. I always appreciate being
No
here.
problem. And thanks again for being here, you guys.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
the shirts aren't available for purchase yet, but very soon I'm hoping to get them up on the website, and I will definitely be letting everybody know. You guys, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. And for the Packer Fan Network, I am Mark Schneider.
Check out the Packer Fan Cave.